In today's video, I'm going to talk to Gene Teigland of Tiger 12. He's the new caretaker owner. We'll see what he says that he is. You can see him. He's just hovering above my head there on the screen of Gantry. And so you know that RocketTheme mentioned or announced that they were closing at the end of June, and his company has taken it on and is continuing on. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things to do with that. Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too. Thanks for tuning in to Watching Work live stream number 305 here on the Basic Joomla channel, where I show you my favorite extensions, tools, and tips for building and maintaining Joomla sites. I also work on Joomla sites, build them, maintain them, do all the stuff. If you're looking to hire someone short-term or long-term, or just to get you on the spot, send me an email, and yeah, and let's talk. Okay, thanks to our channel sponsor today, mysites.guru. Do you have a Joomla site? Of course you do. Maybe you have a WordPress site. Head on over to mysites.guru and get a free site audit for it. And while you are there, check out all the tools and information that will save you time and money managing one or multiple Joomla sites. Okay, so I think I have the whole Zoom thing set up properly here. And let me unpin myself here. And there is Gene Teigland. Taglin, sorry.
No,
did I say Teigland before? Oh
what?
My goodness. I was
so good.
I was working so hard on the tag part instead of Tig. I got that. Gene Teigland. Hi, Gene. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Tim. I really appreciate it. Don't worry. My name's been butchered so many times. You're all good.
Okay, so in chat we got Bjorn, Ivor, Julie, Richard Parker. Richard says hello from Oregon. Julie's in Johannesburg, and we know that Ivor and Bjorn are in Norway. Yes, and I
have to point out Norway. That's there's a Taglin in Norway. There's a little piece of land. There is. So I just got to shout that out when I heard Norway.
Okay, good. Now, Gene has a history in television broadcasting. So he has somehow ended up on my live stream. So we know how. Go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us about your life, your family. How'd you know?
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. Always happy to talk about that. Yeah, I mean, we have a company, tiger12.com. Originally, I was a media guy, film and television, editing, producing, directing, all that good stuff. Kind of through that process, fell into the web development world and creating websites. Got great wife, Bridget, and my 4 kids, and we live in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area in Minnesota. So we're just kind of by the Mississippi River there. So kind of started Tiger 12 in 2005 as a more of a multimedia film production company, and it's evolved into really just mostly a hosting and web development company. And we've used Gantry was kind of our real first add-on to the Joomla world. I mean, I remember early on I was kind of like, oh, do we pick Joomla or WordPress? Because I really just want to focus on one. And Joomla won out. Obviously, we know WordPress is a bit more popular, but I really loved Joomla's backend interface. And then pretty much when Gantry got launched, we incorporated that into our workflow right away. I think the interface is great. It allowed us, for somebody like me who wasn't trained to be a developer, to kind of really control everything and not have to have all the page builder type stuff. And it's kind of evolved. And so we've used on WordPress and Joomla, we've used Gantry on every project we've done. So that was kind of our transition in terms of of being the new stewards for Gantry. Saw the message as everybody else, like, oh, RocketTheme is closed. I was like, oh man, that's not good for us, right? Because we're mostly a custom builder, but we still use the Gantry framework on everything. So I emailed Andy
Right.
Miller. I didn't know him personally. I emailed Andy and I said, well, we'd be interested in taking this over.
Cool. Now I'm going to give a shout out here. I got a little part of a message here to Julian Goodby here. And I did confirm that that's the proper pronunciation of that. So, because I really do hate mispronouncing people's names. He's in New Zealand. He said a longtime viewer, first time caller. And he asked me if I'd realized development of Gantry framework had been taken over by Tiger 12. and then he wondered if the subject might be worthy of a follow-up video. So this is it. So I want to thank Julian for cluing me into that. I'm going to move this off screen now, and because he had some interesting comments and questions, and so I thought, we'll just have a conversation about about the whole process. And you've already given your history with Gantry and that. So you called Andy, and was he super thrilled at first from the
Well,
get-go?
I don't know. I mean, the funny thing is I don't know Andy, but I've known the name because it's all over their, RocketTheme blogs and help desk and all that kind of stuff. So I just saw it on my Facebook feed that the message that, hey, sorry, we're going to be closing end of the month. And then there's kind of a comment about, is anybody interested in whatever? So I had emailed him and I said, yeah, we'd be definitely interested. And it didn't get back to me right away because I realized that there were other people who were interested, and he just kind of indicated he picked us, which I was kind of honored that he would. And I want to kind of divert a little bit. I think we should give Andy Miller and his team like huge props for what they created.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about, I mean, it has over 500,000 downloads, and I mean just kind of taking over what we've done. I mean, building what they did back in 2012. I mean, nowadays there's more page builders, and this isn't really a page builder, but there's more interfaces to do stuff. But what they built between Joomla and WordPress helped so many people, obviously, with us, and to keep that going, and the themes and all their massive help desk or thing that they did. They did a fabulous job with building,
Mm-hmm.
I think, a product that was great when it started, and I think it has awesome potential moving forward. I know that they wanted to get into other things with Grav, which is great, and they had to make some changes, but I think we, as a community with Joomla, we should be really grateful to the work that Andy and everybody and all the community put into RocketTheme. So with that said, sorry, you'll see I kind of go off on tangents a little bit. I apologize for that.
That's okay.
So Andy, he decided he picked us to kind of take over it. He goes, there are others that were kind of more interested in the theme side, but it seemed like you really want to focus on Gantry, the framework, which we did. That's what we were really focused on. So he just said, "You guys got it if you want it." So I just, grew up a quick agreement and did all that, and he was great for the transition, and here we are. And then we released our latest version. They had done most of the work already, so there's a lot of stuff in those branches in GitHub that were already there. We just had to get caught up, see what was done, do a few things on our side, and I thought the release went pretty well with that. So
Yeah, and what I appreciated about it was that they wrapped up things really professionally as well. There have been some people in the Joomla community that have had large projects that for whatever reason their exit from continuing on for fault, newer versions of Joomla have not been very professional. They've been very what is the word? I remember the first time a guy ever accused me of being this, I had to ask him what it was. Histrionic. he said, quit being so histrionic. And I said, what does that mean? But anyways, emotional, and it's business, and obviously they've moved on. They're moving on to something else that they think that they can make a living at. So now,
right.
in my video, when I was talking about it, I thought, well, I don't see, if they can't make money off of it, who's going to be able to make money off of it? I imagine it's probably going to disappear, but you can make money off of it. So tell us how.
We'll see. I mean, that sounds.
Yeah.
Right now, it's saving us money because we need this framework to keep going, like a lot of other people. But yeah, go ahead. What was your question? Interrupted
No,
there.
no. So obviously beyond. I mean, it's a big thing to keep going just for your sites, and then you're taking on the support and that. So how I guess you don't have to go into super great detail because it's
No, I'm happy to, for sure.
But what's the business plan that you see that they didn't see, or that?
Well, I mean, I think for us, as a hosting and development company, we needed this framework to keep going. Like it was a choice of, because what would have happened is because I kind of saw some inklings and I was like, oh, I haven't seen a lot of updates. I kind of see the writings on the wall. We may have had it, we probably would have created our own branch of something, right? Because one, I still love the framework. I think it's, and we work with a number of agencies and companies around the country, and when I work with their devs and I kind of show them, hey, this is what we do, they're like, oh, I really like this. They, because not everybody has heard of it. I mean, it's pretty popular, but like I had a Drupal developer that, he's Mr. Drupal. He's great to work with, and even he liked it. So I figured if I get a Drupal guy on board, I'm doing well. So, so the idea is to just kind of keep our things going with all the projects that we work on. That was kind of, I guess, selfish from our standpoint, from a company, to make sure that this keeps going. But then, as I started thinking about it, talking to Chad about it, because we're an AI development company as well, is you know I really see where we could take this, right? So, foremost, everyone should know Gantry is going to be open source. It's open source. It's not staying. It's in our agreement. Why Andy, wanted to make sure that kept going, and that's not going to change. We got Helium and Hydrogen Theme, WordPress, Joomla, even Grob. We're doing that as well. So, we're going to keep those going. I think the one preface we should discuss, because it's come up a little bit in GitHub and a few of my messages, we're not supporting the old Rocket Theme themes or any of them.
Hmm.
That page, you can fill out a form. We're happy if you have problems and you can't solve them, we'll solve it for you that would be on a paid basis. But our focus is on the helium and hydrogen themes, and then the frameworks, Joomla, WordPress, and Graph. Those were where we're keeping the open source. We just can't, we didn't get the theme subscriptions processed over, and that's totally fine. We didn't necessarily want that, but I just want people to know that we can't like freely support all of those other themes. But I will say this: what I love about the Gantry community, they are really helpful. We put a few things up on GitHub, and other people pipe in, put in their code, help out. So if they have issues, get on GitHub. Tell them your issue with their theme. Someone's going to answer. I monitor it all the time, and we'll try to help you get through that answer if you don't want to do paid support. We're not expecting that. We're not in the business necessarily for that. That's not why we took over Gantry. So anyway, then moving from there from a business standpoint, while we want to keep the open source part of it free, I mean, we definitely want to put on add-ons. I've always wanted to do it. Like, let's talk WordPress for a second. I know it's a Joomla thing, but it gives you a good example.
Oh, that's cool.
We wanted a WooCommerce add-on pack, right? On the Joomla side, I was just looking at today, like, the one thing that, WordPress does better than Joomla, and I think Joomla does most things better, is, when you have that page you just want to build and you don't want to put in modules and all that other stuff. And I was like, I think we can I'm not going to promise anything, so don't quote me on this, but I think I'd like to get Gantry into a page builder within a Joomla article. I know there's a big change with Joomla 6 with, API. And that's kind of the other thing is, we're definitely going to put on some API packs because, we've built some REST API solutions with WordPress where you could use, and again, I think Joomla's backend is better. But to where you could use the Joomla backend and then you could REST API your content to Flutter to any other code base, Angular, any other code base you want to use, and use that as a backend something to create it from scratch. So I see financial opportunities there with the REST API. I definitely see financial opportunities with particles. I know there's already some companies out there that make particles that you can
Hmm.
buy. I was just actually talking to my son. He was kind of like, I do have to share because I thought it was kind of cool. My son Ben, he's an electrical engineer, and he kind of got in. He's like, oh, "What's Gantry?" So we kind of looked at it a little bit more. He's like, "Man," because they have to do some coding. Even electrical engineers got to do that stuff. And he's like, "I really like this." So he really likes the interface, but I really like these particles so I could see some AI particles, some other interesting things that we could do with that. Because at the end of the day, I want Gantry to be kind of this workhorse of of designing, connecting with AI, and then being CMS less, whether you use Joomla, use WordPress, use other code bases to create your sites on the front end. Because at the end of the day, AI needs structure. I think Gantry's structure and how they do things is really, really good. So again, it's a lot of cloud dreaming right now, but that's how I
Mhm.
think good ideas start. But that's kind of where you talk from a financial standpoint. We don't see it in themes. I have no desire to create themes at this point. I'd be great partnering with other theme companies and say, hey, here's how we can do particles and do other stuff with that and do add-ons. But we see it as really more of the deeper part of the interface, improving that and doing add-on packs that makes everybody's life a lot easier. Integrating with that. That's how we see it, and it'll take us a little while to get there because we got to get our foundation set right. But financially, that's where I want to go with it.
Yeah, and if you have a firm foundation, and others will see opportunities, like people who are making things for U theme packs to add in that.
Right, right, and that's really what we want to get to. So I don't know. It's going to be a little bit wild, honestly. We have never taken on anything like this. We've always been closed doored in terms of everything we develop. We've never done, we're doing some WordPress plugins, but this is a whole another beast in terms of a whole framework with lots of users that I'm sure many have dropped off because they're afraid of where Gantry was going, and hopefully they'll come back on because I think it's a really strong product. It's a really strong framework that has tons of potential.
Yeah, the template clubs or the creating the templates become a really heavy burden because as things change, there's an expectation that every single one
Right.
is going to be brought up
Right.
to it. So if you're taking people's money to add a new template every month, and 4 years down the road you have 48, and then a new release of something comes out, now you have 48 things that you have to
Right.
update and get out and troubleshoot and support and everything that's unique, and then you keep putting things out. So that is pretty heavy.
Well, and then the other thing with themes is, originally they were really for people who knew not that much about back end development or front end development, right? So you could plug and play, kind of have something custom, looks great, has all the bells and whistles that you want. And there's definitely a place for that. I mean, you got Wix and all that other stuff, but those are really valuable. But like for us, as we were transitioning, I used themes originally, but then the clients would want so many changes. I'm like, oh, we should have just started with nothing, right? Because you just have to keep tweaking over and over again. But then when you think about AI for today, somebody who doesn't know a lot about development with AI, the rules have changed. Like it's just changed. So now you can start building the stuff you want. You still need a structure to plug in to do that, right?
Mhm.
Like you're not just, you need to have those particles or, those modules or whatever else that you need. So that's kind of what we want to tap into is say, hey, you may not know development, but your AI does. Tell it to do your code. This is the system that you can plug in to do it. And then now you can start developing some really good stuff that wasn't possible before, right? Because I mean, I know AI, they're like, oh, you just tell it what to do and it'll do everything. Yes, we'll see where it goes in 5, 10 years. I get that. But from our perspective, there is still AI. I mean, ask an AI this. It needs structure. It
Yeah.
doesn't create things magically out of nowhere, right? It
Yeah.
needs structure. And that's kind of what we want to build it towards.
Yeah, AI, telling AI just to do stuff and leaving it to them is like telling a 10-year-old to go out and cut the grass that you've never shown how to cut the grass, and said,
Right.
just pull that rope and push the mower around till all the grass is short, and then you come out and suddenly you see all the wonderful things you never imagined would enter a
Exactly.
10-year-old's head. So,
Exactly, exactly. So that's kind of our vision, and we'll see how it all unfolds. But we are, for those who are wondering, I mean, it's me and a team of 7 others, so there's 8 of us. So we're not the biggest, but we're not small. And we'll be expanding as well. But we are fully committed to Gantry. This isn't like a little side thing. We've built our company. I've built this company around Gantry, and we're going to keep moving forward with it. So it's not going anywhere.
now, I'm a lover, not a coder. So, is Gantry, is Gantry for WordPress different than Gantry for Joomla in a sense? Like, does it just sit on top and have just some connections out, or is there a big difference in the code between for the two versions? How?
I mean, I'm not a huge coder because I started in film and television production, so I have a lot of other smarter people around me. I'm more of a idea
Mhm.
process guy. But and I've built a lot of sites myself between two, so it's not like I don't know, but there's not a lot of from their interface and how they work. It's very similar. They're kind of built on top of, you use in Joomla, you use Gantry, you can build your theme, right? Use the CSS files, do a bunch of other, particles and other injections, JS injections, new CSS style sheets, all that kind of stuff. And then it works exact same way with WordPress, right? They're both obviously PHP based. So they work very similar. I think the one thing that even for a while I always battle with, and I was just thinking today, like, we got to find a way to merge this, and I think we'll get there, is this happens to be both on WordPress and Joomla. Which route do I go, right? Because I can do everything in Gantry. Like I've seen WordPress sites where they build all their pages within the Gantry interface using outlines, right? But then I'm like, well, but WordPress, you can build your pages, or like in Joomla, you can build your articles, right? So sometimes it feels like two systems that are kind of like, do I go this route and this route, right? So I think that's one of the things that kind of makes people kind of sometimes go away from Gantry, saying I feel like it's like a competing system within itself, even though they're really well built and tightly merged. So I think we're gonna work to try to make that feel more natural, right? To where you can go in a Joomla article and hopefully you can just grab a particle there and build your page there, right? Like with that. Obviously there's module positions and all of that you can integrate, but though I think that's some of the stuff that we're going to work on tweaking and see how that goes. But essentially, it's kind of built on top of it, so you can theme and do your stuff. But and that's what I loved about it too, is that it's like you can control so much from the back end, but yet you're not tied to not the downgrade these because there's a place from, but like with the Beaver Builder, where you got to go every single setting, go through all that whole process. I mean, Gantry's not a page builder, it's a theme builder, but at the same time, you have like dev control with, drag and drop interface, which I think is great. I think people want that.
Now you mentioned that in an announcement there that Julian mentioned this, that you not supporting Joomla 3,
Correct.
which is understandable because it's end of life.
And interrupt, that was we just took the updates from what was before. That was kind of predetermined before we showed up, so we just continued that process.
So for roadmap moving forward, Joomla 4 is end of life in October. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that's right. Yeah, it's October, because then I think Joomla 5 goes into security only in. Oh, I could be wrong. That could be 2 more years.
Right.
Don't quote me on that. But and then 6. So do you think you will keep things going for 4, 5, and 6 for a while, or where are you thinking?
I mean, it depends on how our 6 goes. So I know that's the big push right now, and we've had some messages on that, and we're committed to that. Is Joomla 6? There's a lot of changes to. I think good changes, more decoupling on how those two things work. When we talk about more integration, there's more API integration like WordPress has with the REST API. So I think that's some really good stuff. I know there's been some work already done on a dev branch towards it. So we're going to take a closer look at that. We just weren't ready to do it now. And whether that, obviously 5 will be supported, 6 will be supported. If we can make 4 supported, I think we'll do that. I'm not going to commit to it either way, because it kind of depends of what we have to do to get to 6 if we need to. Because, I mean, the nice thing about versions, if you need to stay with 4, just keep the Gantry version that works with 4, right? Don't always have to carry everything forward, because you're going to have those archive versions anyway.
And the templates are that the template. It's not like at the end of June a magic plug was pulled and everything just went stopped working, right? So nobody's in a lurch or needs to panic that, oh, my site's not going to work tomorrow.
Right. I mean, the only issue I think they're going to have is obviously the themes. If they got them from RocketTheme, those aren't going to be updated as time goes on. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember Gavin. Gavin was a big theme club that closed up a couple years ago. Gavin Framework. They're a framework.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, that was a pretty popular one back in the early days. We just had to do a conversion on that to Gantry, actually.
Yeah.
They were like, Gavin, like, well, we got to convert this Gantry using helium and hydrogen as our theme. And then it was pretty easy to do, because we just use it like, and I kind of put this in a GitHub, is that when you have to start making those theme transitions from old rock, because you're going to have to eventually, right?
Yeah.
The Rocket themes are not going to keep supporting them. and sites upgrading. And you can go to, we use Helium for it, but you can map your modules, you can copy the positions. It's really easy from going gantry to gantry, right? Because you can actually export your YMAL files and all that. And then what we typically did is we take the old CSS file, call it like old CSS file, but put it in the you have settings in Gantry, you can
Yeah.
add additional CS files. We put that all there, right? And then see how it played out, and then whatever changes we have to make, we would go ahead and add extra CSS. And it's not the cleanest thing because you don't want too much CSS running, but I mean, we were able to do a full conversion like 2-3 days from a whole different framework to Gantry and be able to keep all the content. So going from like a rocket theme to another Gantry theme like Helium should be really easy, because if you have some specific CSS that calls out the Gantry rows and all that, that's going to match, right? So I would start, if I were a developer, and I had sites I know weren't going to change a lot over the next few years, that would be your next step is, hey, we need to convert our old rocket theme to helium and hydrogen. Obviously, we can do that for you if you want, but that's something that I would kind of plan ahead for, to do that, because again, we're going to keep those themes going, but we're not going. But I would tell people use helium. I could see a world where we kind of use one theme in the next few years, because I'm not sure why will be a need for two. So if I were to pick one, I would pick helium to work with, because that's the one we use. So
Okay, there's the inside scoop on which one is going to survive. I think a lot of people with the migration from 3 to 4, a lot of people have found that their template is not going to work in 4, and so they've had to pick something to rebuild their template in. And the nice thing about Gantry, or some of the other options, like I think you can do this in Asteroid, which got revived when it was closed down a couple of years ago. Template Creator CK, which is what I use. They actually have, I don't know if their page builder works in WordPress as well, but their template designer does in both.
Yeah.
But is that if you go to something where you can create module positions, it's a lot easier to transition, because you work, you would take a Gantry, have Helium, and then start recreating the module positions, do your styling. Now you don't have to change your modules, you don't have to change everything else. You're just working on getting the look, and that's the great thing about a CMS.
Correct. No, that's a good way to do it. So
okay, so we don't have any questions in chat, because you're doing such a great job of explaining everything.
I'm over talking too much. Sorry.
Oh no, well, it's either you or me, right? So it's better you. I will. I RocketTheme and Gantry, I really owe much of the whole existence of my channel to them, because I think, and now it's like 16 years ago, I was using RocketTheme, and I wanted to customize some CSS, add some custom CSS. So I, for the life of me, didn't know how to. So I start searching around and Googling, and the page comes up with the information on how to do it. But I know I'm staring at the information, but I could not figure out how to do it. And after a couple of hours of looking at it and playing around, and I finally figured it out. Just make. I think it's is it user CSS that it's the file that you make, or anyways. And then I thought, well, I could show how to do that in a video in 5 minutes. That once I knew how to do it, right? Go here, do this, with it, paste the information. So I did that, and that was for Gantry 4. And then I did another one for Gantry 5, and those are easily my most viewed videos on my channel. So that sort of gave me the bug for making the tutorials, and I just started making a video here and there, because people, while I enjoyed making the video and playing around with the tech and the editing and everything, but that was the twigging moment for me, which was and I think I did one other video, which was for a client on how to put tables into an article using JCE editor, just to
Oh,
show them.
right,
But
right.
yeah, so that's interesting. Well, it sounds like you've got a really great plan in place. I know when not knowing you or your company or anything like that, when I heard that you're taking it on, and I looked at your work and saw that you were doing just mostly WordPress stuff, I thought, oh, I wonder if they'll drop it for Joomla and just
No,
continue on. So I think a lot of people are going to be super happy to hear that, and hopefully they will feel better and more comfortable about being able to stay with Gantry, with the little bit that we've mentioned about having to maybe change their Rocket Theme template down the road.
yeah, no, that's the bad thing about the website. We've been so busy with our clients that my website doesn't really show very well. So, it's like kind of the typical, the handyman that doesn't fix their own house, but they fix everybody else's.
Well,
The
if you didn't have clients, you'd have more time to work on your
Yeah,
business.
exactly. So it's always a plus or minus there. But we I'm actually working on getting that update so we can kind of show ourselves a lot better. But yeah, I mean, Joomla was our first love, if you can love a CMS, I guess. But
Oh,
we
you
are,
can.
yeah. So we are definitely committed to doing that because part of it is I get it. Like I've been there. Like we had, I on the WordPress side, I'd picked out a well, it's Cubely. Cubely was like the add-on for Gutenberg that I picked, and we using all our sites. Well, out of nowhere, they just shut down. It's like
Yeah.
and using something else. I'm like, oh crap! Now what are we gonna do? So now we're creating Rubly. We're doing our own thing. We're gonna release that in a few months. But my point with that is that I know as companies we're like dependent on this stuff, right? And I mean, I'm in people's shoes and I think about that and I'm like, no, we got to keep this going. It benefits us, everybody else. I have no desire to drop Joomla. As long as Joomla's are on, we're going to keep it going because it's good for us and it's good for everybody else. And then, if Joomla dies, that's obviously a different story. We're not gonna take over Joomla. I'll tell you that. Um, but we are 100% committed to making sure those happen and that people have the tools to keep their stuff going with open source, right? Like because I saw kind of like, oh, they're just going to make it paid. No, we'd have to create a new product to do that. It wouldn't follow open source rules. Second, I have no desire for that, right? That's just not who we are. So we're going to keep those going, but yeah, we're going to create some add-on packs that if you think it's valuable for you to purchase, we want to offer that. And we'll just see how things unfold from there. But even if those don't work that great and people don't want them, we're going to keep Gantry going because at the end of the day, I really have no desire to rebuild like over 50 sites right now.
Mhm.
So it's better to keep Gantry going.
Now, I've asked the question. This is probably more of a general one. How do you see AI will change the way we work with Joomla? I mean, you've mentioned AI and the whole process.
Right. Boy, that's a great question. How I guess, well, I mean, kind of it depends what kind of AIs get built to deal with it, right? Like, you know, that's the big question is how are us humans going to really interact with the AIs in terms of how we build things,
Mhm.
right? So, and I think Joomla's taking the first step by really focusing on the REST API stuff. I know that they were behind on WordPress with that. That's a first step in that direction. Um, Boy, I mean, content creation, obviously. I mean, there's going to be AIs. I mean, there probably
Yeah.
is already. I just haven't looked at it for creating Joomla articles. In terms of building front end sites, I mean, I was kind of, again, I talk to AIs a lot just because, like, why not talk to them for what they're going to do, right?
Yeah.
And yes, I'm social. I get out and do other things. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
But
Good.
yes. But the point was that okay, where do you see CMS is going if AI's taking everything over, right? And you talk about Joomla, WordPress, Gantry as a theme builder. And the thing that it kept saying to me, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I've repeated this a few times, is that AI still needs structure. So I think, and I'm hoping If these content management systems like Joomla and WordPress or whatever, if they provide the structure for AIs to plug into, whatever they could be, because then we can design and piece those together. It will be there, right? So yeah, I got not a great question, not a great answer to a great
Yeah, yeah,
question.
no, yeah.
That's
I mean,
that's kind of
and
my initial thoughts.
it's still early days too. I mean, it's lots going on, and lots of people. I mean,
Right.
everybody in every company's got an AI now for you to try or to pay extra every month
Yeah.
for. And um,
Yeah, they
I
do. Unfortunately, they're just kind of cheap AIs. Like we're just throwing out a chat box and call it AI. We kind of make fun of that on our side. They're just like throwing whatever they can at the wall to see what would work. But I do think, but I will say with AI, as much as I might be wrong, this is just my philosophy. People, we can be passive and just let AIs take over, which people are telling AIs to take over. They're designing them, or we can, as humans, say this is what we want, right? Let's use AI. We want Joomla to survive. This is how we want it to work. We want WordPress to survive. We want Gantry to keep going. We like it. So then let's take the forefront lead on that and build AI and other things to make that work, right? So I think that will be part of on us too, in terms of making it work and not just accept what's given to us.
um, I, I had a client this week who wanted to register a bunch of domains that are names that are similar to the topic that she's an expert on, and point them to her very old site. And so she was asking whether she asked whether to she should register them through her normal registrar, to do them through me. And I so basically we were talking about that, and I said, but you know what? I don't see any SEO advantage to registering lots of domains, because all the ones she has now just merely point to her site. So I said
Right.
they only they have no original content, so they're never going to come up in search engines. And um, and of course, I suppose if you were to put them on a book or an ad, people would see it, and then you could redirect them. But anyway, so then she said, "Oh, okay, well, I think she said she wasn't going to do it." Anyways, next morning, I checked my mail, and there's a message saying she had placed my answer and asked ChatGPT what it thought of it.
Right.
And I so I lately I have a prayer that I have been writing, that I pray every morning before I start to work, just so my stomach doesn't get upset when annoying things happen. So I thought, okay,
Right.
well, I'm just here to help her. So I read the answer, and it gave other. It said, I think AI said that it was partially correct. So and then
Hey,
it went
as long as
on.
the AI is honest, I can live with that, right?
Well, then it went on and said that but you have a detailed content, or a detailed SEO plan. This is what I was saying to her. So obviously
Right.
they've been talking quite a bit more than with me. But and then it mentioned, well, you can put some content, 300 to 500 words onto a page under that domain to try to get attention, gain authority with AI, and then have a link
Right.
to your main page. And I went, okay. So I replied. I said, well, yeah, I guess if you're gonna do that, yeah, that does make sense.
Right.
So no, I'm not going to tell her, yeah, but you don't do that, or you never do that, or I doubt you're going to do that. But I just thought,
Right.
whatever, because I thought, all right, I can make a few bucks off of registering these domains every year. I mean, if you
Right.
want to,
Exactly.
you're the client, you get to.
Right.
So,
Right.
but that was just a bit of a existential moment for me, thinking like, oh, really? But then I guess we do the same thing to our doctors when we go to our doctor and say, hey,
Right.
I've got this spot on my shoulder, and I Googled what it is, and I think it's this. So
Right.
they're nice to us.
No,
All right,
I mean,
here.
no, those are all great points.
Okay, question from Susan Davis. She is the best looking, most beautiful of my viewers that I
Oh,
have.
nice.
Yeah, because that's my wife. She's actually sitting behind the
Oh,
curtain behind me here. So she says, I'm really intrigued with the idea of modifying administrator templates to simplify them for clients. Does Gantry have the capacity to build simpler administrator templates?
so like back end management of
Yeah.
content through Gantry. Yeah, that's good. So that is definitely something that I'm personally looking at to make that better. Just because that's kind of part of our infrastructure as a company, whether it's WordPress or Joomla, is that at the end of the day, I want to build a site and you update it, or because I don't want to. I don't like making content. Um, that kind of goes back to our my comment about trying to get Gantry to be more integrated with the CMS system like Joomla and articles and all of that, right? So where because right now Gantry's great for us as developers to go in and create the theme without any coding, truthfully, right?
Hmm.
CSS, but that's different. Um, I think it's great for right now. It's not great for content. It's not built to create content from my perspective. Others could definitely disagree. It's great for building themes and structuring content. But yes, I think that's a great comment and a question, and that's where we want to get to is can we integrate it tighter with Joomla so it's great for content, right? And that's kind of where we talked about those particles. I know those particles are going to play a big part on that. And even creating the AI type of particles that help create content for you to direct that content within the gantry structure.
Okay. Is there anything I haven't about Gantry that I haven't asked you that you'd like me to ask you or that you'd like to say?
Boy, I don't know. I've talked a lot. I hope I covered the things that people wanted to hear. Definitely.
Your name is on the thumbnail, and it does say an interview, so you were expected to talk a lot. So
Yeah, okay, fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, if they have questions, definitely hit me up on that. Whether it's through our website because we have a gantry tab there, or we get a lot of GitHub stuff. The one thing I do want to touch on for any developers that are want to do more with Gantry, I've been impressed with the help that and the work that others outside of RocketTheme have put into Gantry, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around how to integrate that moving forward because we've had offers. Hey, we want to help. We want to make this better. And I'm used to a closed system with just my team, right? And we have our process. And but I definitely want their help, not even just for coding, but their ideas. What do we want? Where do we want to take Gantry from a change log standpoint? What do we want to improve in, and from that technical standpoint? So I just kind of want to know, hey, I hear you. I'm working on how to get that process to be smooth. Because I think we definitely should tap into the community in terms of growing Gantry, not just because yeah, we have our thoughts and ideas, but if you can, with structure, provide others to give in their ideas and solve problems, we're definitely going to do that.
great. So a new chapter for you and your company.
Yep, for sure.
Now you've had lots of chapters in your life. You've done lots of things. Is the is your favorite and best thing behind you? Is it ahead of you, or is this it?
Oh, that's a great. I've done some great things. Been a head football coach for a couple teams. I love coaching football. I've made a movie, been on the film set director, love that. Been a father, that's the best. Um, but no, I just had my 50th birthday yesterday, actually. So
Oh,
that's
happy birthday!
yeah, thank you. So that's a good question. I think the best is in front. I truly believe that. I think that I've done a lot of things this way, and now I get to do more of this, and I think that I'm just beginning to process where we want to get to with stuff, and I kind of know where we want to get to. So I think we're definitely not at the end of anything. So the best is, I think, still to come, but it's not for me to determine all the time.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. Yeah, I think it's definitely the times that we live in now. So when I every now and then I take a turn running a camera at my church because we live stream our second service, and so uh, slowly but surely the tech is changing. So I have to bring. We used to, like, for instance, do the tally for the camera was an app on my phone. So if my camera was live, it would change colors. So I'd have to bring another phone and a bunch of things. So I was bringing them in. I would bring them in this lunchbox, which was my father-in-law's. Now he worked in the paper mill for 40 years. worked shift work, provided for his family. It's covered in all kinds of, oh, in fact, I've got it sitting right here. It's covered in all kinds of stickers that say,
Oh,
I've
yeah,
worked how
right.
many years. I mean, it's just good old school metal
Wow.
lunchbox. So years ago, when we were cleaning out my mother-in-law's house after she had maybe it's when she was moving in a nursing home. None of the kids wanted that lunchbox, so I took it. And anyway, so now I tootle off to church when I'm doing camera with this lunchbox full of not even with the headset anymore, with the glasses I need for the camera and different things like that. But I mean, it's out of respect for my father because he works so hard. But the work 40 years and grind and have job security is over
Right.
in our culture. So
Yes.
and finding, I remember just when I was turning 50, the president of our association of churches asked me, he says, how old are you? And I said, 50. He says, oh, 50 is such an exciting age. He says, it is a great age. And he was someone who sort of just as he aged and grew, just did different things and gave himself to them
Right.
and really enjoyed them. And I think that's a healthy way to be looking, because if it's like, oh, my favorite thing was doing the movie when everyone respected
Right.
me and now I work by myself, oh, here I am,
Right.
woe is me, then you've got today to live and to be grateful to God for
Well,
it. So
and I agree with that 100%. And you got to take risk and do things you don't think you can do. I always told my players, you can't believe the lies in your head. Like, I can't do this, can't do it. Like, another thing we just did 3 years ago, I just built our own house with my kids and my wife. And my family looked at me like, what? You are the last person that you would ever build a house. We did the concrete, we did the framing, all this stuff, right? But the point with it is, here's the thing. It's not just because we're great, because we're not. There are so many resources out there that you can do a lot. Now, you're going to have a lot of failure. You're going to have a lot, it's not always going to work, because we definitely have failures, but I mean, with age, you have those experiences, you can learn from them, but you can't stop trying to do those things. Like, keep
mhm.
pushing, pushing, keep pushing. Just because you're older doesn't mean like, oh, I just can't do it anymore. Like, you have all these resources, you have all the experience, keep going. You have no idea what you can do. And at the end of the day, failure sucks, but at the same time, who cares? You're going to do something more with it. And you just got to keep going. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I think from young to the last day you breathe, you just got to keep fighting forward with whatever you've been given. So,
Now FJ, hey FJ, good to see you today. He says your 60s will be revolutionary. They are for me. So
nice.
that's
There we go. I got
that's
something to look forward to. All right, good.
That's good. Yeah, I'm turning 60 in November, so I'm very excited about that. I have a friend of mine. He was talking to his mother-in-law, and she was, I think, in her early 90s. And he asked her one day, I think she was in hospital. He says, "If you could, what age would you go back to?" And she says, "Oh, if I could," she says, "I would go back and be 70." She wanted to be 70 again. And then she talked about how that was a favorite time of life for her and how great things were.
Oh, that's a
So,
great attitude. I love that.
yeah, excellent. Well, that's thanks for coming on. That was really good. Really nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks,
And
Tim. I appreciate you having me on.
yeah, and your plans for Gantry sound exciting, and I know we're going to be able to. People will be happy to not only just be able to read what they've heard, but to get a feel for the project and its future and stability by picking up those things from you.
All right, sounds
All
good.
right,
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate all your support and work.
yeah, and if you ever have things you want to show, Joomla related,
Yes.
just let me know. You come on, and or even if we just hop on a call and I record it and put a little video
Yeah,
up
yeah,
just
no,
to
definitely. If we get some more
show
exciting stuff,
things.
we'll make this more of a tech talk and maybe get some of my team on too. So,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so don't you hang up even after I switch to the music here. But let's see. Uh, things are a little bit. Oh yeah, okay. I got to find the button that starts. It used to be sad music, but everyone complained. Now it's jazz music when we're
we don't
going
want to
off.
end on sad music. That's good.
No, it was just kind of mellow music. But anyway, so Bjorn says, interesting session today. Great news, Gene. Good luck. And
Thank you.
yeah, so yeah. Well, everybody, thanks again for your support of this channel, for tuning in today. As usual, I hope that wherever this finds you, be it morning, evening, afternoon, or tomorrow, that you are well. Until next time, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.